الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن 7 سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد. Verily, all praise is due to the Almighty Lord. We praise Him, we thank Him, we seek His help and refuge. We take refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our own actions and our bad deeds. He whom Allah guides, no one can misguide. And he whom Allah allows to go astray, no one can guide to the path of righteousness. We bear witness and testify that there is no God, no object, no deity worthy of worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one without any partners. And we bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his slave and messenger. May Allah have peace and mercy upon him and all who follow his path until the day of judgment. O you who believe, fear Allah as he should be feared, and always tell the truth, and die in no other state than in submission as a Muslim in Islam. My topic today for my lecture is, are we raising Muslims? This is a subject that every single youth and every single hoyo, abo, mom, dad need to be concerned with in this environment. Now, I had a young brother who recited the Quran very beautifully, recite 3 ayats from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 27 through 29. It says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who break Allah's commandments after they have been practicing Him, and who give up what Allah has ordered and enjoin, and do mischief on the earth, verily these are the losers. How can you reject faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeing that you were without life, and then He gave you life? And then He will make you die, and then He will bring you back to life again, and to Him all of you shall return. It is He who hath created for you all things that are on this earth. Moreover, His design comprehended the 7 heavens. For He gave order and perfection to the 7 heavens, and all things He is all aware and wise. Sadaqallah, sadaqallah al-azim. Now, it is very important, these ayats of the Quran. These ayats are saying to the Muslims a very important warning. Those of you that are practicing Islam, stay in Islam and stay away from the bad things. And so I want to take a look at the children, the youth, and also to the parents in that, about, are we really raising Muslim children? Now, there's a Somali proverb. I love Somali and Somali history and the culture, because you guys have a lot of hikmah, you have a lot of ilm, you have a lot of knowledge just by your spoken word. There's a famous Somali proverb that goes, a tree when it is young, if it starts to grow crooked, then it's very easy to straighten up. You can stake it down, you can tie it up, you can move it around and make sure that it's growing nice and straight. But when that tree gets bigger, when it becomes this big around, it becomes impossible to try to straighten that tree up if it becomes crooked. And this is the way our kids are. We have to start looking at the kids, and we have to start when they're young. You can't start when they turn 15, 16, 17 years old and come to the sheikhs and come to the alims and say, what is wrong with my son? He won't listen to me. Well, you have to say, what did I do that he's not listening to me? You have to start when they're younger. So, for the kids, for the youth, I want to start off with the very first thing that every single human being learns when they first are born. The first time that a child comes out of the womb of his mother. When he comes out of the womb of his mother, he's looking around and trying to absorb every single thing that he sees around him. He tries to learn about his environment. He tries to learn about the world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. And he starts to imitate everything that he sees around him. Starting first with oil, then starting with abo, with mom and dad. And so this connection between child and mother and father is the very first thing that he learns through imitation. So his language. Most people, if you call home and one of the young child answers the phone, you won't be able to tell the difference between a young 10-year-old boy and Hoya and the mother, because they have the same voice. Because the children will start to mimic the mother. And so when you look at these things, the child is born on a natural fitra to start imitation. So we have to make sure that the children are imitating what is good, what is halal. And so, you know, if you have older children too, these can be a source of the children imitating them also. So, for example, if you have a young child in that, and then you have an older child that is wearing their hat to the side, wearing the baggy, you know, the pants down below, you know, the younger child is looking up to his older brother and saying, hey, I want to be like my older brother. So what does the little brother do? He starts sagging his pants down, he starts wearing his hat sideways, even not knowing why he's doing it. Same thing, the small sisters in that, wearing the hijab in that, if they see their older sister maybe going to college in that, to remove her hijab and she's hanging around in that, what are they going to imitate? They're going to follow in the footsteps of their siblings. And so we have to make sure that we're not preventing our brothers and our sisters and our sons and our daughters from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is our obligation. Next thing I want to talk about with the kids is video games. SubhanAllah. I call them shaitan games because they keep you from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other day, I was sitting with a young brother in that, and he wanted to play his video game so bad, and I said, please, can you put it down so we can pray Salah? Please, put it down, just for 1 second for Salah. And he was so attached to that game, he didn't want to let go of it. Shaitan was holding it in his arms. And these electronic devices can do a lot of harm to your iman and your taqwa and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So parents, it's your obligation and it's your right to limit the use of these electronic objects for your kids. And this is what a good parent does. Even the non-Muslims, they limit their children from using these things because they see the bad things that can happen from electronic devices. Another device is like the cell phones. I had another mother that came to one of the sheikhs in Minneapolis, and she said, my son, she wants the new iPhone, the G4, the brand new one, the one with all the bells and the whistles on it. You know, the one that has the internet, the GPS, and all that good stuff. And the sheikh said, I recommend to you, do not get this phone for your child. If you get this phone for your child, you're going to have a lot of problems. Because he does not have enough iman, he does not have enough responsibility to go ahead and have something of that nature. Well, Hoya, the mother, she didn't listen to the sheikh. So she went and bought the phone for her young child. So when she bought the phone for the young child, one night, the little boy was asleep in bed and he was holding on to his new phone. It was clutched right in his arms. And Hoya came over there to tuck her baby boy into bed. And she went to go remove the phone from his chest. And subhanAllah, Hoya was shocked. She pulled the phone out and there was pornography on this phone. SubhanAllah. Shaitan had gotten a hold of him with this device. Okay? And she should have listened to what the sheikh was telling her. So she took it away from him. And he became very, very upset. And because Shaitan had a hold of him. And he said, I'm going to call the cops on you and tell them that you abused me. I'm going to tell them that you abused me. Hoya went back to the sheikh and started saying, I'm sorry, sheikh, I didn't listen to you. I should have listened to you, but it was too late. So the sheikh told her, go back to your child and tell him if you're going to call the cops, go ahead and call the cops. Take it away from him because it is good for him. So we have to look at these electronic devices and that because they're taking our kids from remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, Now, another thing is some parents have taken the TV and they've made it a babysitter. This is definitely the shaitan box. And you may say, oh, my child, my little girl, my little boy, they're only watching cartoons. Do you know that there are actually cartoons out there that actually teach your children how to misbehave, how to talk back to their parents, how to be enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They teach them this. This is what they do to the American children, and this is what they're trying to do to your children. They're trying to pollute them. It is your job and your duty to screen whatever you are showing to your children, because you are responsible for the input that goes into their brain. And so this is very important. Another one is the Facebook and internet. All of you brothers. How many of you brothers have Facebook over here? Raise your hand. How many's got Facebook? Come on, I know more of you got Facebook than that. Yeah, yeah. Facebook and the internet, subhanAllah. I don't call it Facebook, I call it fitna book, because that's exactly what it is. Nothing but problems and people misrepresenting themselves. That's the biggest place where you'll find people lying. Yep. You'll have sisters representing like they're wearing niqab and stuff, and they're going out to nightclubs. Or you have brothers in there that you know, they're pious and that, but they're doing bad things. So you have to be aware of what your children are doing on the internet. That is very important. The other day, I went on to YouTube, and I went ahead and I typed in kids cartoons on the internet to do a search. They showed up, they brought up about 10 cartoons and that, and then right in the center of it was sexual cartoons. So your kids, when they're looking for cartoons, whether they be little age like this, 6, 7, 8 years old looking for cartoons on the internet, okay, are going to come across some stuff that non-Muslim people are putting there to trap your kids. It's shaitan. So you have to screen what your kids are doing on the internet. Now, I have a question for all of the youth. All of the youth. How many of you want to be doctors? Okay, keep your hands up. Lawyers, muhaddith, hafiz of Quran. Okay, lawyers, engineers, any of these things. How many of you have hopes, dreams of being successful? Every single one of you children should be having your hands up right now. Now, I want Hoyle and Abo to take a look, because all of your kids, they want to do what is good. They want to do what is right. And they want to succeed. And you're responsible for giving them the tools to go ahead and reach that, inshallah. And so, I have another question for all of you. You can put your hands down now. Okay? Okay, you can put your hands down. Now, how many of you want to do drugs? Drink alcohol? Go to jail? Be taken away from Hoyle and Abo? See, nobody's raising their hand, are they? You know, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. Not a single one of these brothers and sisters here want to go down that path. But here in Minnesota alone, I have 4,000 Afrikun, Idigeso, 4,000 brothers and sisters that are locked up in prison here for alleged crimes. That's way too many Muslims. And that's very, very, very bad dawah. Because you're not inviting people to do what is right and forbidding what is wrong. And so, I want Hoyle and Abo to take a look at your young brothers and sisters and that, and give them the tools to help them out. And some of this has to be about being a good parent. You have to have good and you have to have bad, okay? You can't be always giving whatever Muhammad wants, whatever Ayan wants. You can't say, here, you want a $200 PlayStation? $200 PlayStation? Here, you want to go play the game? Here, no problem. You need some $200 Jordans? These things right here are poisoning your kids. If you're going to spend $200 on something, go spend $200 on the whole collection of Sahih Bukhari. Inshallah. There's a story of an African-American guy. Okay, he's a non-Muslim. Okay? His mother, when he was young, he started misbehaving. Okay? He started acting very bad. He was acting like a gangster. And she was worried about her kid. And he was watching TV and doing all of these things. So his mother was a good mother. She was a single mother. She went and she removed the TV from the house and made him start going to the library. Made him go and start searching out ilm, start learning knowledge. He started to find out that he loved science. And so he became very fascinated with the human brain. With the human brain. So much so that he worked his way all the way through medical school in the 1960s and 1970s, back when African American people didn't have any kind of positions. He was the first one. And today, he is the #1 brain surgeon in America because his mother went ahead and limited him and put him on a different direction than the path that he was following. It's never too late for Hoyle and Abel, mother and father, to go ahead and change the path of their children. But you have to be parents first. Now, to the parents, I want to talk about feeding your children halal. This is very important. Very important. Most parents do not understand that if you're taking government assistance in that, the money that is mixed in with government assistance may be coming from unlawful means. Okay? It's not that you're taking it in unlawful means. If you have to take it, you have to take it for what you need to do to take care of your family. No problem. Okay? The sheikhs are in agreement on this. But you have to understand where this money is coming from. For example, the state of Minnesota, they sell lottery tickets. People go into the gas stations and that, and they pay $1 for a lottery ticket and try to win $1 million. All of this money that they receive from this, they go ahead and put into a pile. Okay? When someone wants to open up a restaurant or a bar to sell alcohol, they have to pay $10,000 for a liquor license to sell alcohol. Every single bottle of alcohol in America, when someone buys it, they pay a tax to the state. All of this is getting pooled in together into the money that they're putting into you. So you have to look into these things, and if you have the ability to get off of this government assistance, then please do so. Now, if you're medically necessary to stay on it, I'm not saying that you have to go off of it. You have to do what you have to do, inshallah. But if you have the hands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, and you can work, and you can provide for your family, then you should seek these means, inshallah. And another thing, I've already touched a little bit on the discipline issues. Also, the rights and responsibilities of the parent. This is very important. We have a lot of the young brothers, more so than the sisters. Okay, I'm sorry to say it. Okay, the brothers are a problem sometimes. But the young brothers in that are starting to talk back to their mothers and their fathers. I'm seeing it a lot. A lot. I had one young boy who was in my building. He was talking to his sister through the hall, and he told her to shut up. He said, "I'm going to smack you in the face." If you're going to say that to your young sister, you're going to say it to your mother. You're going to say it to your mother. And it may not be today, may not be till tomorrow, but one day you're going to say it because you're disrespecting the honor that a woman has. And so, brothers, you need to look at yourself, because you're representing Islam, and your actions are going to be held accountable. So you have to speak well or be silent. This is an obligation upon each and every one of you. Now, the sisters also, you need to encourage your younger brothers now to start painting a different image of themselves. The sisters, mashallah, in the school system and that, they don't have as many problems as the brothers do. And that's for two reasons. Number one, the sisters, if they came and they told them to take off their hijab, they'd probably have a riot. They'd probably have a riot with the whole entire Muslim community. So even in, for example, St. Cloud Public School District, they allow the sisters to go ahead and take swim class by themselves. Okay? So it's segregated so they don't have to worry about non-Muslims and things like that. But did you know that in our school system here in St. Cloud, the young brothers in that are still forced to take these swim classes, and they have to take them with non-Muslim women and boys. And if they don't take it, they're going to get a failing grade. So you guys need to start speaking up about these things to the school district. And also, you guys have the rights and the responsibility to go ahead and see what they are being taught in school. This is your rights as a parent. You send them to a non-Muslim school, You expect them to learn morals, discipline, and value. You have to take responsibility and you have to go and see what is being taught to your children. There are some teachers in that are using very bad materials to teach your children. I got copies of the Holy Bible in the Somali language that looks exactly like the Quran. They're taking this and actually using this to teach English to some of the Somali children. I found it in some of the schools. Also, they're using things that are actually shirk, which is taking partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're mixing it in with the education that is being taught to your kids. You have the right to sit there and review every single piece of material that your kids are learning, and you have the right to refuse if you do not want them to learn this, inshallah. So, I don't want to take a whole lot of time. I just wanted to sit on the rights and responsibilities of the parents, and then also to the children to encourage them. Also, you know, I asked all of you, who of you want to be doctors, who of you want to be lawyers? How many of you would like to author a book, write your own book? How many would like to write their own book? Good. How old are you? How old are you? Yes, how old are you? How old are your sister next to you? Just say how old are you? Say 10. Huh? 11. Mashallah. Mashallah. I know a 9-year-old Muslim girl that wrote this book. 9-year-old Muslim girl that wrote this book. Says things every kid should know about drugs. She's 9 years old, wrote this book. Now, she wasn't happy with just one book. She decided to write 4 books. So she wrote things every kid should know about alcohol, things every kid should know about smoking, things every kid should know about bullying. So she wrote these 4 books to give education to the Muslim youth, and also to give education to the non-Muslims. And this right here is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you over and over and over again, because this ilm will be here even after you're gone. After you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this knowledge right here will be here benefiting more people, inshallah. So I want to encourage every single one of you, if you have dreams, if you have ideas, talk to Hoyo, talk to Allah, say, listen, this is what I want to be, this is what I want to do. And I guarantee you, Hoyo and Apple are going to say, we will do what we can to go ahead and help you. The non-Muslims, they spend their whole entire fortune on trying to protect their kids, on trying to give them things to do to send them on the right path. We as Muslims, we are the best generation. We have the best guidance. And so we have to do the same. We have to take an interest in our children. And some of you, mashallah, some of you, you run and you run and you run. You take them to Doocy, you do all of these things. Mashallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward every single one of you for what you have done. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all to Sirat al-Mustaqim. Forgive us our faults and our transgressions. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت واستغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.